أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب زدني علما. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Islamic Studies class. Today I'm going to tell you the story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. We said that Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam had two sons, Prophet Ismail and Prophet Ishaq. Prophet Ishaq alayhi salam had twin sons. One was Esau and the other one was Yaqub. Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam had 12 sons. One of his sons' name was Prophet Yusuf and the other one was Binyamin, and their mother was Rahil, which was the cousin of Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam. The 10 brothers of Prophet Yusuf, they were very jealous with Prophet Yusuf, and in the last story I told you guys that what happened is they planned to throw Prophet Yusuf in a dry well. So they threw Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam in a dry well. Now today I'm going to tell you what happened after the brothers threw Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam in a dry well. So after so they went back, the brothers, they went back home and they showed the blood stained shirt of Prophet Yusuf, which they did it with the blood of a goat, and they said that oh father, we're sorry, a wolf ate Prophet Yusuf, a wolf ate our brother Yusuf. So Prophet Yaqub knew that they are lying to him, but he stayed patient, and he was just praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be with Prophet Yusuf one day. So what had happened to Prophet Yusuf? So Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was discovered by a caravan of traders that were passing by and had stopped to get some water. So they took him with them to Egypt and sold him to some slave traders for a few pieces of silver. So the governor of Egypt, his name was Aziz. He offered a price that none could match and brought Prophet Yusuf home to adopt him as a son. So now Prophet Yusuf is in the palace of Aziz Misr, or the governor of Egypt. So after Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, he was living with the in the palace of the governor of Egypt, with the Aziz of Egypt. After some time, unfortunately, if you can see in this picture, it says Prophet Yusuf sent to jail. So what happened? Unfortunately, Prophet Yusuf was accused of plotting against the king, and that's why he's sent to prison. On that at the same day, there were two other men that they were working in the palace for the Aziz. They were also imprisoned on the accusation of trying to poison the king. So one used to serve the king wine, and the other was the royal cook. The next day, the wine server said to Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam that I saw a dream, and in my dream I saw that I was crushing grapes for to make wine for the king, and the cook said that I had a dream that I was carrying some bread in a basket on my head and birds were picking at the bread. So both men felt that perhaps Prophet Yusuf could interpret their dreams. So what did Prophet Yusuf? At the beginning, Prophet Yusuf started, so he took this opportunity and started talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they were not worshipping Allah. So he started to talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he promised them that he will tell the meaning of their dreams and inform them that that this was a special power given to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he took this opportunity in the prison, before he talk about their dream or before he tell them the meaning of their dream. He started introducing and talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with them first, and also he said that I have this power of to tell you the meaning of your dream, but this power is given me by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he explained to them that how pointless, so before he told the meaning, he explained to them that how pointless it was to believe in more than one God. He talked with them about Tawheed and the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then after, He said that the man who dreamed that he was crushing grapes for the king will soon be released from the prison, and he will go back to his old job, the same job, serving wine for the king. And the second one, who carried bread on his head, said that that person will be killed and the birds will start to eat his brain. So Prophet Yusuf ﷺ told the wine server to remind the king that Prophet Yusuf was still in prison. The dreams of both men came true, just Prophet Yusuf ﷺ had predicted. So one of the prisoners was released and the other one was hanged. So unfortunately the wine server forgot to tell the king about Prophet Yusuf, and that's why Prophet Yusuf had to stay in prison for a few more years. Now let's see what happened. So after that, how did Prophet Yusuf released from jail? One day the king told his advisors that he dreamed 7 fat cows were being eaten by 7 thin ones. So now the king has a dream, and he saw in his dream that 7 fat cows were being eaten by 7 thin ones. He asked his advisors to tell him the meaning of the dream, but none of them knew how to interpret dreams. So the king was very concerned about the meaning of his dream, and even his wise advisors could not make sense of it. So as soon as the wine server heard about the dream, he remembered Prophet Yusuf. He also remembered what Prophet Yusuf had told him to tell the king. So he went to king and he told him about Prophet Yusuf and what happened in the prison. So the king called Prophet Yusuf and asked him to tell him the meaning of his dream. He told the king, Prophet Yusuf said that the 7 years, for the 7 years there will be many crops and food available for the people of Egypt, and after that there will be a famine for 7 years in which no food will grow and people will starve. So Prophet Yusuf said people should try to grow and store as much extra grain as possible so that they will be able to survive during the years of famine. After hearing this very wise interpretation of this, Prophet Yusuf, so after the king heard that Prophet Yusuf ﷺ told the meaning of his dream wisely, the king was very delighted. So he ordered that Prophet Yusuf be released at once. Not only released from the prison, but also the king gave Prophet Yusuf a very high position. He became the Aziz of Egypt. He became the governor of Egypt. And his duty was including being in charge of food and money of Egypt. So he began his duties right away and started to work on making sure that when the famine arrived, nobody would starve. So now Prophet Yusuf, after he released from prison, now he became the governor, the prince of Egypt. So Prophet Yusuf, here you can see in the picture, Prophet Yusuf is as Aziz of Egypt. Now he has a very high position. Prophet Yusuf ﷺ as the prince of Egypt. For the first 7 years, Prophet Yusuf gave his people a little portion of the grain and stored the rest in the very big storehouses. By the time the 7 years were over, the storehouses were full. During the next 7 years, there was a famine in which the earth became very dry and very little food grew. However, because of the planning of Prophet Yusuf ﷺ, the people in Egypt did not starve. The famine also spread to other lands such as Canaan. So Canaan is the city where Prophet Yaqub lived with his sons. So Prophet Yaqub is the father of Prophet Yusuf, right? So one day Prophet Yaqub ﷺ called his sons and said, my sons, we are in need of food. You may go to Aziz of Egypt. So now the kindness about Prophet Yusuf everybody knows, even other cities. So he said that go to Aziz of Egypt, who is known as kind person, and he will sell you food. So Prophet Yaqub said, let Benjamin stay with me. So you guys know Benjamin was the younger brother of Prophet Yusuf, right? Prophet Yaqub said, let Benjamin stay with me so I won't be alone. And the brothers of Prophet Yusuf, they went to Egypt to purchase some grain. So now the brothers are going to Egypt to find some food, right? The first journey. This is the first journey, so I will tell you about the first journey, and then we have the second journey, the third journey, or the fourth journey. So I hope you guys are paying attention, and I hope you know till now what happened. So the first journey was when the brothers of Prophet Yusuf, they all went to Egypt to purchase some grain. When Prophet Yusuf saw his brothers in Egypt, he was very pleased to see them. So Prophet Yusuf knew that these are his brothers, but the brothers, they couldn't recognize him. But he did. Prophet Yusuf, he knew that these are his brothers. But he didn't introduce himself, so he didn't say anything. Prophet Yusuf was disappointed to see that his real brother Benjamin was not with them, so he asked his brothers that, can you guys tell me about yourself? And they introduced themselves, and they told him about their father and mother and brother and the younger brother. So Prophet Yusuf was happy because now he heard everything about his family, and he knew that his father is still alive. He really misses his father, right? So Prophet Yusuf sold them some grain, but instead of keeping the money, he secretly put it back into their bags so that they would have some money to come back to buy more grain. And he told them that when next time when you guys are coming to buy or to purchase some more grain, you have to bring your younger brother as well. If not, then he would not sell them any more grain. So when the brothers came back home, they told their father about the kindness of Prince of Egypt or Aziz of Egypt, and they were very delighted to see their money when they opened their bags. So they saw that Prophet Yusuf put their money back as well. So this was the first journey, and this was the time that Prophet Yusuf met his brothers. Now, the second journey. So the second journey is when Prophet Yusuf meets his younger brother Benjamin. So in the second journey, so after some time, Prophet Yaqub's family again, they were out of food, and the brothers, they had to go back to Egypt and purchase some more grain. So they could not go without Benjamin, because Prophet Yusuf told them, if you come back without your younger brother, he will not sell them any more grain. So they went to their father and they asked their father that we have to take Benjamin with us as well, otherwise we can't purchase. So Prophet Yaqub, because of the bad experience that he had with his sons, he said no. But then after, when they insist and they ask their father again and again, so Prophet Yaqub told them that so he made his sons to swear by Allah that they would look after Benjamin at all times and nothing will happen to him. So they agreed, and they reached to Egypt. So they went and they reached to Egypt. Prophet Yusuf ﷺ was extremely happy to see his younger brother and invited all of them to have dinner with him. So now all of his brothers are sitting with him and they are having dinner. Then later he let them all stay in his own house and asked Benjamin to sleep in his room. So during the night, Prophet Yusuf told Benjamin who he really was, and then he asked Benjamin not to tell their brothers anything about his real identity. So Prophet Yusuf wanted to keep Benjamin with him, and he really wanted Benjamin to stay with him. So with Allah's help, both of them, they made a plan, because Benjamin now he knows that this is Yusuf and his brother. So the brothers prepared for their journey to go back home. Meanwhile, according to the command of Allah, Prophet Yusuf carried out his plan to keep Benjamin with him. So he ordered his men to put a silver cup belonging to the king in Benjamin's bag. The brother of Prophet Yusuf ﷺ had not gone very far before they were stopped and accused of stealing the silver cup. The brothers said that they were innocent, but after the guards had searched their bags, they found the cup in Benjamin's bag. So Benjamin was not allowed to go back home. The brothers, they were very upset, and they started begging Prophet Yusuf to take one of them instead of Benjamin, because they said, we promised our father that we will bring our brother back and we will take care of them. So but Prophet Yusuf said no, that he could not take anyone who was not guilty. The brother had no choice but to return to their father without Benjamin. But the eldest brother, he was very upset, and he couldn't face his father, and he couldn't face telling his father about the terrible news. So he remained in Egypt. But the other 9 brothers, they went back to Egypt. So now in the second journey, so the first journey, Prophet Yusuf met his brothers, the 10 brothers, who threw them in a dry well. And the second journey, he saw his brother Benjamin, his younger brother, and he kept Benjamin with him. Now, the third journey to Egypt. Let's see in the third journey what will happen. When the brothers returned home and told their father, Prophet Yaqub, what had happened, Prophet Yaqub was heartbroken. He had already lost his eyesight from crying for Prophet Yusuf. Now, hearing this, that he lost his other son, it was too much for him and made him very upset. So he sent his sons back to Egypt, and he told them that go look for both of your brothers, Prophet Yusuf and Benjamin, and bring both of them here. So the brothers went back to Egypt and asked Prophet Yusuf to release Benjamin. Prophet Yusuf knew that this is the time that he has to introduce himself. So what happened is he said that I'm Yusuf, I'm your brother. And the brother was amazed to hear this. And Prophet Yusuf then said, I am Yusuf, and this is my brother. Allah had been gracious to me. Anyone who is patient during hardship is always rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On hearing this, the brother hanged their head down in a shame and asked Prophet Yusuf for his forgiveness. So Prophet Yusuf forgave them at once and prayed to Allah to forgive them as well. Then he gave his brothers his shirt and told them that cover their father's face with this shirt, and he may regain his eyesight, because Prophet Yaqub, he knew that something happened to Prophet Yusuf. He didn't believe this story, right? That the wolf ate Prophet Yusuf. That's why he was crying so much, and that's why he lost his eyesight. Prophet Yusuf said that take my shirt and cover the face of my father with this shirt, and he will regain his eyesight. So then he told them to return with the whole family. So in the third journey, Prophet Yusuf introduced himself, and he gave his shirt to his brothers to put in his father's face to regain his eyesight, and also he asked them to come with the whole family. Fourth journey. So in the fourth journey, the brothers went back to Canaan to tell their father about the good news. As soon as the brothers came close to Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam recognized the fragrance from Prophet Yusuf's shirt. So when the shirt was placed on his face, Prophet Yaqub was able to see again, and he decided to take his family to Egypt immediately. Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was delighted to meet them and hugged his father and stepmother. Because they were so happy, the father, the stepmother, and the 10 brothers prostrated on the ground. Okay. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so here I can say the dream that Prophet Yusuf saw when he was 12 years old, Allah made true the dream of Prophet Yusuf. Remember, he dreamed when he was 12 years old that 11 stars, the sun and the moon was prostrated in front of him. And the father said, don't tell the dream to anyone. Now here Allah made true the dream of Prophet Yusuf when he had seen 11 stars and the sun and the moon doing sajda in front of him. The story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam is narrated in the Quran in detail in Surah Yusuf. It's the 12th surah in the Quran. So the fourth journey is the time that Prophet Yusuf met all his family. Now, how does this story relates to our life today? Usually we talk about the story, and then we discuss about how this story relates to our life today. I will just give you a few seconds so you can think about how this story relates to our life today. You can read this slide as well. Being patient, or sabr, having sabr, being faithful, jealousy, lying, trusting in Allah, and being grateful. See how these things all relates to our life today. Okay, so the separation between Prophet Yaqub and Prophet Yusuf was difficult for them, for both of them. Both remained patient and faithful to Allah. See, both of them, they were patient and they were faithful to Allah because they trusted Allah and they knew that if Allah has a plan, no one can change His plan, right? And in the end, Allah rewarded them by returning them sometimes. We find ourselves in difficult situations and think that it's easier to give up. But we should remember to be patient and know that Allah is the best of planners. In the end, the patient ones will be rewarded. So whenever you have a difficult time in your life, you have to remember the story of Prophet Yusuf, the story of Prophet Yaqub, and you have to stay patient. You have to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and don't give up, right? Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and trust Allah and ask for His help. And that's it. And stay patient. Don't give up. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for sure will help you. And the jealousy of Prophet Yusuf's brother was so bad that it led them to lie to their father and send their own brother away. Allah sees and knows all things, and He is not pleased with jealousy. So we should remember to be happy with whatever we have, and we should rid ourselves of jealous thoughts and actions. Because when we are jealous, then we have to lie, and then we have to do things that are not okay, are not liked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, stay patient, having sabr and patience, being faithful, these are all the lessons that we can learn from the story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. Homework time. So you have 2 pages in your workbook. You can complete in your workbook, and if it's difficult for you to submit, I want you to check mark by yourself. So check the answers by yourself, and inshallah I'm trying to upload your textbook in the Moodle, in the portal, so you can have access to the textbook as well. And once you have your textbook, you can check the answers as well. So please complete these 2 pages. The story of Prophet Yaqub and Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was this was the lesson for this week. Inshallah, inshallah we will have an online session as well together, and inshallah I hope to see you soon. But inshallah we will continue the prophet's story, the stories from the life of prophets by next week. So stay safe, take care of yourself, and fi amanillah.